Great, great, synchronous. Okay, try something a little bit different. Go into Aristotle and the Atlantean energies through Aristotle's energy, like what we would have to say about them, anything to add. Well, that's already be kind of known about them to a certain level. Obviously, there's always something to connect to. Of course, the Atlanteans had a kind of elitist energy. Some of them did at least genetic engineering to a certain level, and they're part of a lot of the occults that are going on today, or part of a lot of the corporations that are here today, part of the stock market. The pyramid on the $1 bill, you can say. They're doing all this, hidden messages and everything. It goes back to the Masons, but also goes back to the Atlanteans, goes back to everybody. And so on. And also, if I'm pronouncing this right, Solway, Spaceman. So this girl had a picture taken of her, and then a spaceman was seen behind her. And, they can say whatever it is, but that's something else. Dirt on the camera or whatever it might be. Or not to say we get 100% connection on this, but we'll see what we can tap into. I never tapped into this before. I don't believe so. And the cats are awake. Oh crap! I spelled the North Pole wrong. And the North Pole, I forgot the R. Oh well, the North Pole, the North Pole. That's usually misspellings have a purpose to it. I'll change it later. So the North Pole frequencies, you can say some of that might go into the Atlantean. There is some zeta frequencies there, of course. Obviously, those portals there, and just see what needs to surface, whatever it might be. So, let's see. So the Atlantean frequencies, obviously, are going to be kind of controversial. There's different points of view of it. But the Greeks had a connection to them for sure. Of course, the Egyptians also. But the Greeks actually fought them. Now, did the Egyptians fight them? Unclear. But it feels definitely the Greeks fought them. So, obviously, that history has been erased and all that for obvious reasons. So, and for us to figure it out. I mean, nobody would believe what we have right now unless you're living it. The technology we have. Of course, what we have now is kind of still pretty primitive where it could be. So we're just kept in the dark ages. I mean, the power, power supply, at least in the U.S., the way the power company is, it probably could be a better technology there, but whatever. What do I know? So, all right, we'll see what comes through there, and see what else shows up. So, I don't know what else to connect. I don't know what to tap into here, and I'll show an image of what I'm talking about. That's how I'm talking about private sessions. Maybe. I have a scheduler. I have a shop here. The webinar, social network, behind the scenes, and the archive, which eventually I'll update, maybe tomorrow. Maybe. And so this is the famous it looks like a spaceman. I mean, obviously they'll say whatever it is. This is always going to be somebody saying something. it still has whatever it is. It still has a spaceman energy. It just does. Is it somebody like back of their hair or something like that? Eh, feels more spaceman connected, but either way, you're never going to get 100% on any of this. It's just the way it is. So, of course, you have spirituality these days is getting very it's following religion. So you have your religious yuppies, you have your spiritual yuppies that are taking over spirituality. So yeah, not the best energy out there these days. Well, it's just whoever can come up with the best story, I guess. That's what's popular with a lot of people nowadays. It's spiritual entertainment. That's what's out there right now. So hopefully this is educational. I mean, education can be entertaining, but the idea is for educational purposes. Soul growth in some kind of form. So make sure everything is running. Yeah, let's check a couple things, okay? All right. All right, blessings. Here we go. Greece is Aristotle. Same energies. Realize there are different points of view, of course. The Atlantean frequencies, obviously, as you know, become very selfish. It's actually very similar to the United States at this time, where there's like the internal decay going on with this society. Basically, those that feel like they knew everything. Delusion. So what plagued the Atlanteans is basically toxic delusion. And you're seeing that now in the US in different levels. Even the conspiracy theories are getting kind of out there. Like they're creating ideas for the fill their own paranoia. Now sometimes it is true what they're picking up on, but then they kind of overblow it. They make too big of an energy of it, and it can affect your health. It's just there's a lot of, it's just some are just going to be in panic mode their entire lives. For some, and sometimes they're putting out the frustration of humanity through their own energy. It's almost like a pipe that's always smoking. Just trying to clear out the steam that's on the planet. But for as to the Atlantean frequencies, of course, their reality is very fantastic. With technology, computers and everything, a vast intellect. But there's always a flaw in their ways, at least those in the higher class, are basically always wanting more and taking from others. So there's just an energy there that has not healed and still has not today. So it's like they're kind of like after your empire goes down, you're kind of blaming everybody else or blaming others, and there's still it's still going on today. So, and you wonder how some of these elites get into the levels that they are, because they've been part of the hierarchy in previous incarnations. They just continue to incarnate here also. So a lot of the elites, this is kind of like their prison. Well, for them to keep their power, they keep reincarnating. Like many of you just incarnate every now and then, and you don't have to worry about it. But a lot of the elites continue to incarnate if they want to contain that power, continue where they're at. So I know it sounds a little strange. Now, obviously, they can screw up and lose everything, but they have their ways of continue their power. So just obviously, if you're an elitist with a lot of, where this is your prison, basically, you're going to make it difficult for everybody else also. Well, they are trying to find a way out, and that is true. Not all of them, but quite a few of them are looking for that, and they haven't found anything. Nothing's worked. So yeah, sometimes I feel like if they wipe out the human race, that'll work for them, but not necessarily, because I just put more karma on them. Actually, yeah, just if they want to do this whole genocidal situation, it's going to come back to them. It's already doing it now. Think about when more of the population starts to disappear. So, like with the health situations been going on in 2020, yeah, a lot of your elites are getting karma for that. Of course, they are. They say, oh, people have given away their power and they wanted this, and that's true, but also some trickery that's there. So it does still go back to the elites to a certain level. As for the Atlanteans, also, of course, they're master geneticists, some of them, and they've never gone away. They've always been around throughout history. So they're trying to create their own animal life, you can say. It's just that, yeah, with that, they really push their boundaries of their own like they're really connected to the God free. Well, actually, they have connected to how the soul enters the body. Of course, it's not really in your modern science really of how the soul enters, but there are some scientists who can actually see it happen. Yeah, using different technologies to see you know how that all works, at least for the fetus and everything. Yeah, it can get quite intense there. But it's more of like your shadow science, you can say, or blacked out science. You can call it pseudoscience at a certain level. We'll never make it mainstream. Now, mainstream might tap into some of this, but not going into the full details of it. Basically, the metaphysics of the human. You can say that's been looked down upon. Some have tried to attempt to go further into it, the understanding of the soul, but usually it doesn't get a whole lot of attention. Just like your media, your propaganda situation. So obviously, the population is not asking about the soul at all. It's asking about materialism and what they can manifest. There's nothing wrong with trying to find fulfillment, but yeah, it might take a while for that. But at least you're looking for it, where many are not. Some are just fulfilled just by having certain materialism in their life, which is strange. Why you can have more than that, but others just materialism. That's it. And materialism, there's positive sides to it, of course, but some are just focusing on it because they're holding on to the physical realms. Like they're putting their energy here to keep themselves, because some don't want to leave this environment, no matter how hard it is here. It's just about the energy it's just about the frequency they pick up here. It's okay, for others to suffer as long as they're not suffering. And at least if you're suffering, obviously you want it to end, but others kind of don't care as long as they have what they want, how long as they have the lifestyle that they want. And that can cause karma also. Well, you're not showing compassion for the world and what's going through. They're kind of ignoring it. As long as I have my toys, my things I need, who cares about everybody else? And you have to save the world, but showing some compassion for the world. The world can feel it. So be surprised how karma is built. Well, it's just that it's still a family race, even if you don't always agree with it. And just having compassion for it, there's nothing wrong with it. It's free. You can just feel what's going on. Obviously, like I said, not here to save the world, no, because I can take you down. But at least the compassion is just not always understood. So, blessings. And of course, the Atlanteans had no compassion. Blessings. No, some of them did not. Blessings. Greetings. We are the Solway Spaceman, or we are the Spaceman. We don't have a name. Why that occurred? Why not? There are entities that come into your environment and do as they please, and is a part of disclosure. You can say, of course, humans here. I mean, some of you is like, yes, that's definitely disclosure. Others like find every way around to say it's not disclosure. Well, it's a hint of what's out there. It's kind of like an elemental being, like a fairy to show up. Instead, you have a spaceman that shows up instead. And so your society is still, well, it's just basically the alien realms. It's basically, what it comes out to, it's basically the non-physical realm that's connecting more to the physical realm. And it's time to, guess who's coming to dinner. It's like, it does help your evolution. Doesn't mean you have to like each other. But at least acknowledging each other's existence. But like I said, there's a lot of non-physical beings that can't stand the physical realm. So there is another war out there that some of you are aware of, but most are not. It's just basically, like I said, it's not going to make things easier. I mean, for some it might. But it's basically for the physical society. Well, you wonder what agendas are. You can say what you want about this, but if society here would start to acknowledge the non-physical realm, and you can see it however you want, but at least acknowledge it exists. Obviously, right now your world society, they know something's out there, but they don't know what the hell it is. Yes, they call it heaven or hell, or most I just want to think about it because it might mean the end of their soul, their demise if they think too deeply into it. Well, it's basically, I mean, you're here to educate your society. You are reading, right? You are, saying words. You are living in a home, and you're evolving. Well, the next evolution will be the non-physical realm connected to the physical realm, and that you both can just say hi to each other every once in a while. And all the spiritual modalities. Some like to take spirituality and make it extremely complicated. That you have more feline DNA or you have more canine DNA and so on. Which every individual here is different. So they all have, they just haven't quite figured all that out. Obviously, in a physical, is it that important? Yes and no. Not if it is to you, it's important. That's fine. But overall, it really comes down to the non-physical realm connected to the physical, and you just have kind of like a picnic together. You just acknowledge both realms. It'll make it easier for those that cross over. Obviously, your world's constantly at war with itself. Not all of you, but quite a few. There's a lot of that out there. I mean, you know how to drive a car. Some of you do. I mean, you know what things are. You know what a mountain is. You know what water is. Eventually, it'll be time to know what the multi-dimensional realms are on a wider scale. It's not always presented itself clearly. Of course, others are not interested in that movie, you can say, or that literature, or whatever it might be. At least those that feel like they're going to hell, at least they realize there's a spirit realm. But those feel like they're going to heaven feel that way too. They might not understand, but it's funny, those that feel like they're going to go to hell have some understanding of it. Burning into eternity forever. Some of them have done that already. So it's just funny, those in the lower dimension, or those that know hell exists, they're probably the more spiritual people on your planet. They don't have to know all the details. You just know that place is real. If others say it's not, it's like, are you sure about that? I think I was just there recently. Well, you create your own version of it. And people are doing it here in the physical. And yes, you can create hell here, obviously. It's just not quite understood how that's done here. which you are bringing that out. Just others are not wanting to see it fully. Well, it's a tough one. It's it's kind of game over for all the tricksters too. Once you start figuring out just the slight details of how this world works, the tricksters can't have their fun here anymore. So, green see where the portals of the North Pole. There is a longevity about being, in the ice realms, the ice cap realm. You can say that, of course, a lot of it's off limits for obvious reasons. It says something about the energy of coldness, just cool frequencies, kind of just it opens itself a portal when it's very hot and dense. It's hard to think, or obviously when it's too cold, it's hard to think too. But you get a sense of balance within the cold frequencies. You'd be surprised what you can tap into. Not to say the spirit realm has weather connected to it, but it's kind of like zipping open your reality at the right frequency. So it's just with the cold nature, it just has the way your world has been developed. It's just the poor ice cap realms, your North Pole. It's just, it's on top of your world basically. And once again, Antarctica, they're just portals, just the way all worlds are built. They're all pretty much built the same way to a certain level. And it's just the portal realms that some of you do tap into, especially in astral. Well, you can say that's where many go to leave this earth. You can go to the North Pole when you cross over. I'll just leave that out there for some of you. But basically, obviously, there's mysteries here on this planet that won't be solved anytime soon. There's just a lot of infights, a lot of agendas going on. If you can see all the agendas, many here would be just it's like a job in itself. Like, I don't know if I can handle just knowing about all the agendas on this planet. It's like it'd be its own university. And that might happen one day. It's just those that are well known on your planet. Some of them have agendas, not all, but some do have financial agendas to keep themselves, functioning in the world. Doesn't mean they have the best intentions. And some of you are tapping into that already. Eventually it'll be revealed. Yeah, some of the heroes are not always heroes, at least in the spiritual community, as some of you already realize that. So, and there'll be more dissect in the future of just because sometimes like it understands, like sometimes that when a person's living, it's like, I don't want to go there, I want to tap into. But when a person crosses over, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is how bad this person was when they were here. Sometimes it's just easier. It's like, wow, that's how really is that how they were? Just agenda wise. Just they're kind of like the hucksters, which is quite a few of them here, as some of you know. So, but as for the North Pole frequency, so this is like connecting also. Well, you don't have to be in the North Pole to connect to it. You can be anywhere, but the Akashic record basically just you have a sense of knowing. Here on this world, obviously, you're here to accomplish what you're here to accomplish. You leave a lot of information out. You have enough what you need for your incarnation. You don't need to know where the dinosaurs came from, unless that's part of your mission. And if you did, does it matter? Does anybody care? Of course, you have 20 other people that say something totally different. So it doesn't mean yours is wrong. It's just that there's different perspectives of everything. But what matters for most of you, as you probably know, is just what you're doing in your own incarnation. And some aren't always looking at that. They want knowledge, want this and that, but they're not always paying attention to themselves. Some are. It's not easy. Sometimes it's better just to Yeah, reading books is great, but are you reading your own energy? Are you figuring yourself out? Obviously, someone trying to figure it out since I still can't figure it out yet. Well, at least you're trying. Because as long as you don't give up on that, you'll get somewhere with it. While most are not looking. Obviously, those in the spiritual development stage are, um, which is good. But there's obviously a world. Yes, you imagine the rest of the world looking into these type of things. Not everybody's going to be into it. That's for sure. Yeah, it's just not that exciting. Somewhat adventure in their life. There's nothing wrong with that. But those of you who are doing a spiritual cleanse, a lot of you obviously are not coming back to this world. So you're just clearing out your house, your energy field, before you exit this world and don't have to come back here anymore. So you're settling a lot of differences and everything. So that's